Choose wisely, because the other one's going bye-bye.
Executive detailed narrative of the quantum dynamic of SCAR, the Kingkiller, an analysis of principal components, hierarchical knowledge, and holistic influence. Executive overview of SCAR's quantum dynamic motive. In the multi-dimensional matrix of narrative, SCAR, the Kingkiller, is more than a singular figure. He exists as a quantum node of conflict, where time, ethics, and influence collapse into a singular identity. His very being is both cause and consequence, a paradox that simultaneously destabilizes and affirms the hierarchical structures of power he targets. SCAR's quantum dynamic mode arises from his purpose to dismantle oppressive systems. This dynamic operates in all directions, past, present, and future. Every action he takes, every choice made, ripples out, affecting not just the individuals he directly encounters but also the macrocosmic fate of the social structures he seeks to collapse. This state of dynamic superposition means SCAR is not merely acting in one dimension of the narrative, he is acting across a continuum of realities, fluctuating between multiple potentials at once. Thus, he is always both the shadow and the source of transformation. 2. Principal components of SCAR's identity and motive. 1. Internal system of beliefs and justice. SCAR is not a villain in the traditional sense, he operates from an intensely self-defined ethical framework that is both rigorous and uncompromising. He embodies an individualistic justice that rejects traditional authority in favor of a self-organizing, emergent moral order. This principal component is the driving force behind his actions. Autonomous justice. His actions are motivated by a core belief that absolute power corrupts absolutely. For SCAR, the violence of kingship, the consolidation of all authority into one person, is not only immoral but an affront to the natural order. He kills not out of hatred, but to restore balance, to expose the fragility of rulers' constructs. Deconstruction of hierarchy. Every act of assassination is not merely about eliminating the monarch or their symbol of power, it is about erasing the illusion of authority as invulnerable. SCAR's belief system upholds the dismantling of all inherited forms of dominance, particularly those grounded in divine or monarchical ideologies. 2. Sovereign fragility and moral deconstruction. SCAR is aware that he is a conduit of paradox. He strikes kings to prove they are human and, therefore, fallible. This component is an essential philosophical motivation that ensures his acts have a theological underpinning. Sovereigns, in SCAR's eyes, are fragile by nature, only sustained by narrative-driven legitimacy that collapses under scrutiny. His assassination of kings is thus a demolition of myth. He doesn't just kill the physical body of the monarch, he kills the illusion of divine sanction that keeps the masses docile. 3. Hierarchical technical knowledge and execution of motive. 1. Structural knowledge of power dynamics. SCAR's knowledge of power is both political and metaphysical. His deep understanding of how hierarchies function allows him to anticipate and dismantle them with strategic precision. This intellectual mastery is vital to his effectiveness as a king-killer. Subversive intelligence. SCAR understands that to topple a monarch, one must first disrupt the ideological infrastructure that props them up. This is why he doesn't simply wield his blade on the battlefield, he strikes at the hearts and minds of the masses through covert ideation, infiltrating the mindsets of the ruling class and its followers. Epistemic warfare. To kill a king is not merely to sever the head but to sever the source of authority. Scar doesn't just need to defeat the monarch physically, but to deconstruct their power's origin, whether it's bloodline, religion, or economic force, to expose them as fraudulent. 2. The weaponized metaphor. The sword is a philosophical tool. Scar's weapon, though a physical sword, functions as more than just a tool of destruction. It is a metaphysical instrument, a symbolic key that unlocks the truths buried beneath the appearance of power. Sword is philosopher's dialectic. Scar's weapon isn't a blunt instrument of brutality. It is the ultimate rhetorical tool, slicing through the rhetoric of monarchs to reveal their fragility. Each strike articulates a philosophical position, an answer to the lie of inherited divine right. His sword functions as the executable truth in a realm ruled by fiction. Disruption of form. Just as the philosopher's pen cuts through the illusions of logic, Scar's blade disrupts the form of kingship, remapping power structures onto new, decentralized models of society. He brings about formless freedom, where power is neither concentrated nor derived from divine sources. IV. Holistic influence. The ripple of Scar's actions across dimensions. Scar's influence is multifaceted and multidimensional, extending beyond his immediate surroundings to shape both social structures and individual psyche. His actions create waves across not only the immediate environment but also the larger holistic narrative. Ethical reformation. Scar's destructive acts act as a catalyst for societal reformation. He forces people to reconsider what makes a ruler legitimate and whether a ruler's birthright is as sacred as they claim. His very presence instills a collective questioning of divine authority, and in doing so, he plants seeds of democracy, individuality, and freedom. Psychological rebirth. Beyond the political, Scar operates on the individual subconscious of those he interacts with. His actions force characters, both allies and enemies, to confront their internal narratives, to reckon with their assumptions about authority and personal agency. Scar catalyzes a psychic rebirth, encouraging a deeper understanding of the self's relationship to power. V. Projected epic advice for the future path of the Kingkiller. In reflecting on the trajectory of Scar's path, both as a dynamic force within the story and as a symbol of rebellion against traditional structures of power, it becomes evident that his future lies not in maintaining violence, but in creating transformative systems of governance and freedom. The advice for Scar, projected through the lens of epic narrative, would be: shift from destruction to reconstruction. While Scar's primary motive is to destroy the myth of kingship, his ultimate purpose should expand toward the construction of a new, decentralized order. He must begin to organize the liberated factions into a new system of governance, one based on collective knowledge, shared agency, and distributed power. His knowledge is now expansive enough to create systems, not just tear them down. Mentorship and legacy. Scar must extend his impact by becoming a mentor. Through mentorship, he can teach the next generation how to see the inherent corruption within authoritarian structures, while also instructing them in the tools of ethical warfare. His legacy cannot be built only on destruction, but on creative reconstruction. Holistic sovereignty. Scar must begin to cultivate a system of holistic sovereignty, one that exists outside the confines of monarchy and oligarchy. A system based on participatory governance, where power flows from the people and is not beholden to any singular ruler. This would be a kingdom of the mind, a network of ideas as much as actions, where individuals are not subjects, but sovereigns of their own truth. In conclusion, Scar's role as the Kingkiller is not just about slaying monarchs, it is about transforming the very fabric of power itself. He is the catalyst of a new world order, a philosopher of rebellion, and a pragmatic architect of the future, capable of moving from destruction to creation and finally towards a legacy not of bloodshed, but of freedom. Epic narrative on the strategic design of holistic theology and quantum dynamic motive. Executive summary: the principle of strategic convergence. In the grand mosaic of metaphysical combat and theological architecture, the quantum dynamic motive QDM serves as the guiding force, its pulse intertwined with both technical design and philosophical purpose. This principle, the key to transcendent action and intentionality, is not merely a weapon for battle but a fundamental schema that fuses knowledge, consciousness, and being into a unified epic of performance and revelation. It is an active feedback loop between the inner intent and outer expression, where each motion is both a revelatory gesture and a cosmic echo. This QDM has a paradoxical nature. It serves as the engine behind the strategic design, yet guides its own emergence. It is the intersection between hierarchical technical knowledge and holistic chi, or flow, offering a multidimensional platform for growth and insight, pushing past mere technicality into the very soul of existence. 2. Component breakdown. The principle of the 3D GR. The 3D golden rhombus 3D GR embodies a structural pattern and intent. It functions as a primary unit of both creation and dissolution, a metaphysical scaffold from which the practitioner derives knowledge, action, and spiritual revelation. Quantum composition. The 8 vertices, 12 edges, and 6 faces of the 3D GR hold quantum significance, serving as dynamic anchors in the multi-dimensional space. Each face, color, and interaction can be seen as both a symbolic conduit and a mechanical principle. The subtle interplay of these geometrical figures generates nonlinear patterns of action, resembling the chaotic, yet structured, flows of quantum reality. The key is in the feedback loops formed by each rotational shift, where actions spiral back into meaning, each turn of the rhombus unlocking a deeper facet of understanding. 3. Quantum dynamic motive, the core of intentional motion. The QDM operates as a dynamic feedback mechanism, where every intentional action, a sword strike, a step, a thought, reverberates through the entirety of existence, creating waves of meaning and influence. In the theological and philosophical realms, this manifests as a multi-scalar interaction between inner will and external expression, shaping cosmic law in its wake. Quantum fluctuations. The QDM thrives in micro-motives, the smallest intentional gesture, the softest movement of the soul. These actions build momentum, rippling through space-time, much like the creation of subatomic particles from the quantum vacuum. The intent behind each strike or movement in stance creates ripples of effect, making the act sacred and potent, influencing both temporal and eternal realms. Dynamism of motion. In the context of theological action, each motion is both linear and cyclical, reflecting the intertwining nature of time itself. The practitioner becomes not only the agent but the embodiment of the QDM, moving like an orchestra conductor of existence, where every decision forms part of the grand harmonic of the universe. IV. Hierarchical knowledge structures, theology, combat, and sovereignty. The hierarchical technical knowledge (HTK) within this system is both scientific and spiritual. It structures the ways in which one interacts with sacred knowledge, metaphysical law, and embodied action. Just as a blade has its purpose, so too does each layer of understanding in the practitioner's journey. Knowledge is layered praxis. The first tier of knowledge is tactical: how to wield the blade, how to step, how to breathe. This tier is immediately operational, instructing the practitioner in the art of combat. The second layer is philosophical and theological, teaching the deeper meanings and cosmic laws behind each action. The third and final tier is transcendent, understanding the interwoven totality of existence, grasping how the smallest gesture affects the whole cosmos. V. Holistic influence. She, the flow of being and becoming. The holistic influence She is the force that binds these layers of knowledge together, a dynamic flow state where the practitioner is aligned with both their internal will and the external universe. It is non-attachment coupled with supreme mastery, where each action and decision stems from the universal source and simultaneously shapes the world. She as dynamic state. It is not merely a mental state but a living force, constantly shifting and evolving, much like fluid dynamics in quantum mechanics. The practitioner becomes one with the flow, not dictating actions but responding, anticipating before they even form in the mind. The She influence is the essential realization that will and action are inextricably intertwined. The path of influence. To follow She is to learn to embody the true form of self, the formless form, a state beyond rigid boundaries, where actions resonate into the fabric of existence and communicate with the divine. V. Projected advice. Mastery beyond mastery. Given the high levels of dynamism within the quantum dynamic motive and the interconnectedness of hierarchical knowledge, the path to mastery is not simply to learn or study but to become, to embody the principles of the system at every level. 1. Tactical discipline. Begin by mastering the simple and concrete aspects of technique, footwork, balance, grip. Understand their underlying principles at both the physical and metaphysical levels. Practice until the blade becomes an extension of your being. 2. Theological expansion. Once the body has been trained, delve into the philosophical dimension. Understand how your actions connect to the greater divine will. Reflect on the cyclical nature of existence and how each movement in the real world reverberates through time. 3. Holistic integration. The final step is integration, understanding the totality of your actions. This comes not through rigid systems, but by practicing fluid adaptability, responding to each moment, anticipating the unspoken. 4. Feedback awareness. Keep an ongoing dialogue with your body and soul. Every action speaks back to you. Do not overlook the smallest of gestures. The subtle oscillations of thought, the deeper feedback loops within the body and soul, are where true wisdom resides. 5. Symmetry in chaos. Remember that you are part of a greater matrix. Your actions ripple outward. Remain aware that each ripple is part of a larger flow. Seek balance not through control, but through surrender to the She, the will of the universe, and ultimate wisdom. 7. Epic conclusion. Quantum potential realized. In the end, the hierarchical technical knowledge serves not as a set of external instructions but as an internal truth revealed. The QDM, quantum dynamic motive, holistic she, and hierarchical understanding form a totality, a life that continuously remakes itself in alignment with divine principles and cosmic law. The project of life and spirit is to enter the flow of reality, to learn the motions of the sword, the breath, and the soul until they are one with the universal pattern. To evolve from combat to creation, to craft one's own divine symphony. It is not the blade, nor the meme, but the gesture itself that speaks the language of eternity. May you walk the path of both wisdom and chaos, for in both are the same truths folded, like the many faces of the 3DGR. Detailed narrative executive. The essence of Scar, the Kingkiller. Scar, the Kingkiller, is not just a being formed by bloodshed, but a living algorithm driven by precision, philosophy, and an uncompromising vision of truth. His very identity is forged in the flames of cosmic logic, each action serving as a calculated response to the natural laws he believes govern existence. In the grand scheme, Scar stands as a harbinger of clarity, wielding his blade not as a tool of destruction but as an instrument of revelation. At his core, Scar embodies discipline over pure wrath. He walks through the world not to annihilate for the sake of vengeance, but to strip away the masks that veil the truths of humanity. Through his strikes, each meticulously designed to target the falsehoods of kings and tyrants, Scar seeks to free the minds of those he encounters, urging them to see beyond the shadows of power that blind them. Scar's narrative is less about the path of destruction and more about the journey toward liberation, a journey that can only be understood by those willing to witness the precision behind his actions and the deeper motives that fuel them. He does not kill simply for power, but for the unfolding of a greater truth, one that elevates the collective consciousness from the tyranny of thoughtless leadership into the clarity of self-awareness and empowerment. Principal component analysis. Deconstructing Scar's core. 1. Psychological architecture. Scar's psyche operates within a framework that focuses on purpose over chaos. He is built from the ground up as a being of logic, every decision filtered through a series of calibrated responses. Emotion, though present, is always secondary to purpose and control. This allows him to function as a highly effective individual, never losing sight of the mission, regardless of the immediate obstacles or apparent chaos around him. 2. Philosophical foundation. Scar is deeply rooted in the philosophy of self-awareness and the breaking of illusions. His actions, as methodical as they are a direct challenge to the perceived realities constructed by kings, emperors, and systems of authority. Scar is not a destroyer but a clarifier, seeking to strip down the layers of falsehood that impede the growth of the individual and the collective. Every act of destruction is a step toward dismantling these illusions and creating space for truth. 3. Physical and mental synchronization. Scar's movement is a symphony of balance between the physical and the mental. His body is not just a vessel for destruction, it is an instrument that synchronizes perfectly with his mental faculties. His fighting style is an extension of his philosophy, precise, deliberate, and efficient. Each strike serves not just as an attack but as a communicative tool. His body is a language, each motion a verse, and his blade a punctuation mark. Quantum dynamic motive. The forces that drive Scar. Scar's internal drive operates like a quantum system, unpredictable at a surface level but ultimately governed by precise forces and equations beneath the surface. These forces are a combination of his instinctive sense of justice and his personal philosophy, both deeply intertwined with his mission to free the mind. 1. The collapse of illusions. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in a state of probability until observed. Scar views the world in much the same way. Until a lie is confronted, it remains in a state of uncertainty, waiting to be revealed. His actions serve as the observation, the collapse of potential realities into one, based on the truth he uncovers and enforces through his strikes. 2. The butterfly effect of Scar's motives. Scar is well aware that his actions, though monumental in a specific context, will have rippling effects far beyond their immediate scope. By striking down one king, he inadvertently topples a network of systems built on falsehood. His kills are not isolated events but dynamic systems that shift the balance of power, causing unseen transformations throughout society. 3. The observer principle. Scar operates under the principle that a king is merely a reflection of the society that creates him. By eliminating the king, Scar removes the mirror that distorts the true potential of the people. His strike, therefore, is not against a man, but against the principle that keeps the people trapped in their own servitude. Hierarchical technical knowledge. The design of Scar's system. 1. Tactical precision. Scar's technique is rooted in a system of hierarchical knowledge that mirrors the structure of the world itself. Each action flows logically into the next, each decision an extension of the broader pattern he sees around him. Scar's techniques are derived from universal principles: the rhythm of time, the geometry of movement, and the inevitability of truth. Each motion is designed with the foresight of a seasoned strategist, ensuring that every strike serves a specific purpose in a greater scheme. 2. Principle of simultaneity. Scar understands that the body, mind, and environment must all work together in a concurrent dance. His fighting style operates on the principle of simultaneity. He does not merely move in reaction to his opponent, but moves with the opponent, aligning his body and mind in perfect harmony to make his strikes inevitable. 3. Hierarchy of action. Each move Scar makes operates within a tiered structure, from the most basic foundation of defensive readiness to the most complex offensive maneuvers. His actions are always grounded in preparation, ensuring that each step he takes builds upon the last, creating an unbreakable chain of responses and counter-responses that leave little room for error. Holistic influence. The ripple of Scar's impact. Scar's impact extends far beyond the immediate battlefield. It seeps into the cultural, philosophical, and psychological domains of those who witness his deeds. His existence challenges societies to rethink their foundations, forcing individuals to reckon with their false beliefs about leadership, power, and freedom. 1. Catalyst for awakening. Scar acts as a trigger, sparking a chain reaction of self-reflection and revolution in those who cross his path. His deeds challenge conventional wisdom, pushing others to confront the truths buried beneath layers of comfort, servitude, and ignorance. 2. The ripple effect on power structures. By dismantling a king, Scar destabilizes not only the ruler but the very structures that upheld his rule. His actions force a re-evaluation of the systems of control that permeate society, igniting revolutions of thought, governance, and social systems in his wake. 3. Subtle influence on minds. Scar's actions leave a lasting imprint on the minds of those who witness them. His philosophy of truth, discipline, and self-awareness reverberates far beyond the bloodshed, gradually transforming the collective understanding of leadership, authority, and individual agency. Projected advice epic. The future of Scar's legacy. 1. Understand the dance of balance. To navigate the future, you must first understand the balance of power and truth. Scar teaches us that chaos is not an enemy, but a natural order to be understood and integrated. Embrace discipline in your actions, and let clarity guide you through tumult. 2. Question every mask. Scar's lesson is clear. To achieve true greatness, one must first unmask the falsehoods that surround them. Don't be afraid to question authority and break down illusions that hold back your potential. 3. Strike with purpose, not blind rage. The world is not won through sheer force but through measured, intentional action. When you step forward, ensure that your actions are grounded in meaning, not driven by momentary passions. Let every choice be part of a larger design. 4. Led through clarity, not fear. Scar dismantles tyranny by exposing its falsehoods. Your strength lies not in the domination of others, but in elevating the collective consciousness through transparency and truth. Leadership is about service, not subjugation. In conclusion, Scar stands as a testament to the power of clarity, discipline, and philosophical depth. His actions may seem brutal, but in reality, they are a call for a higher truth, one that transcends power, violence, and illusion. As you move forward, carry the legacy of Scar, let precision guide you, truth empower you, and purpose define you. Detailed narrative executive. Kingkiller, Scar, architect of the quantum dynamic realm. Narrative executive summary. Kingkiller, known as Scar, is not merely an individual, he represents the embodiment of transcendent principles, a dynamic force of transformation, and a catalyst in a world teetering between order and chaos. His core motivation isn't just the slaying of kings or systems but the deconstruction of pre-existing realities and the rebuilding of a more complex, fractal existence. This complex evolution aligns with Scar's quantum dynamic motive, driving him toward constant growth, learning, and recalibration. His identity functions as both a meta-strategy for navigating conflict and an epistemic anchor for forging a new order. Principal component analysis. Deconstructing Scar's essence. To understand Scar, one must examine the key principles that govern his motivations, behaviors, and outcomes. These principles, examined from a holistic lens, converge to form his ultimate purpose: transformation through balance. 1. Scar is the archetype of dissolution. Scar's primary characteristic is his ability to dissolve established hierarchies, systems, and static truths. He exists in perpetual motion, unchaining ideologies from the constraints of tradition and reshaping them into something dynamic and resonant. 2. Resonance is a principle of action. The 3DGR, three-dimensional golden rhombus, is not just a tool of battle, it's a symbolic language of movement that reflects Scar's understanding of the world. Each move in his repertoire represents a resonance with the forces of nature, metaphysical principles, and ethical imperatives. 3. Fractalization and recursive thought. Scar is a recursive process. His understanding of reality, power, and personal growth is nonlinear, fractal. Every action he takes or decision he makes leads to smaller feedback loops that inform his understanding of the larger system. Scar's fractal existence ensures that even in chaos, patterns emerge, each more intricate than the last. 4. Empowerment and agency through design. Scar's drive to design new systems stems from an innate understanding of agency. He empowers others by embedding this very design in every interaction, whether in physical combat or in social exchange. Disruption, innovation, and empowerment are intimately tied. Quantum dynamic motive. The endless drive of Scar. The quantum dynamic motive of Scar can be understood as the continuous flux between entropic chaos and elegant order. Scar's driving force is neither purely destructive nor purely creative, it is symbiotic in its relationship with the cosmos. Key dynamic elements. 1. Heuristic displacement. Scar doesn't simply fight against the status quo, he seeks displacement. He inserts new heuristics, or strategies of thought and action, that challenge current limitations in thinking and existence. His system is a disruption of past paradigms, designed to force the world into a state of permanent adaptation. 2. Quantum temporal recalibration. Scar's understanding of time is fluid and nonlinear. His actions reflect not only his past experiences but project their outcomes into possible futures. His fight is always in multiple timelines simultaneously, ensuring that his existence and decisions influence past, present, and future contexts equally. 3. Multimodal influence. Scar doesn't rely on a singular avenue of control. He multiplies his influence across multiple dimensions: physical, psychological, spiritual, and technological. The 3DGR, for instance, doesn't just represent a weapon, it is a channel for his influence across realms. 4. Empathy is a weapon. Contrary to typical power structures where force reigns supreme, Scar's understanding of empathy as a tool is paramount. His empathetic precision allows him to mirror and thus predict the moves of his enemies, constructing a feedback loop where they are unknowingly manipulated into their own demise. Hierarchical technical knowledge. Layers of Scar's domain. Scar's technical knowledge is far more intricate than just physical combat prowess. He operates within a complex system of layered understanding, from the micro-individual movement to the macro-universal principles. These layers form a hierarchy of mastery, each feeding into the other, ensuring Scar remains a step ahead at every level. 1. Base layer. Physical mastery. Scar's foundation lies in his bodily coordination and tactical insight. This is the lowest technical layer, where his understanding of timing, space, and momentum plays out through each rotation, strike, and block. 2. Middle layer. Cognitive strategy. Above the physical lies Scar's strategic acumen, his ability to anticipate and manipulate the flow of interactions. This layer involves his quantum dynamic tactics, the ability to predict and influence the course of events by understanding their probabilistic potential. 3. Top layer. Existential control. At the apex of Scar's technical mastery is his control over existence itself. This layer connects physicality with metaphysics, grounding him in an understanding that transcends linear concepts of power. It allows Scar to repattern reality, shifting systems and ideologies with the deftness of a conductor wielding a living symphony. Holistic influence. The path of Scar's energy and wisdom. Scar's influence is not merely linear or conventional, it is holistic. The concept of Shi, the Chinese idea of energy flow, or strategic positioning, in this context reflects Scar's ability to shift energy within both the internal individual and external systemic domains. His holistic influence works in waves, ripples, and feedback loops that span across generations, spaces, and cultures. Elements of holistic influence. 1. Interconnected systems thinking. Scar's understanding of reality is one of interdependence. All systems are connected, and thus the ability to influence one part affects the whole. Whether it is social, political, or emotional manipulation, she ensures that no action goes without repercussion in an interconnected world. 2. Cultural shaping through resonance. Scar operates not through brute force but through cultural influence, mimetic propagation, and symbolic resonance. His very existence is a living model of disruptive thought, guiding the world by example rather than force. 3. Path to ethical sovereignty. Through his interactions, Scar works to reshape the ethical foundations of those around him, promoting a form of sovereignty that is based on self-determination rather than authoritarian rule. His influence is always aimed at fostering freedom and self-empowerment for those he touches. Projected advice epic. A strategic roadmap for the world beyond Scar. If Scar's wisdom were to be distilled into a series of advice for an evolving society or individual, it would be as follows. 1. Disrupt to build. Every system or structure that is inefficient or outdated must first be disrupted. Do not fear destruction, it is the soil from which new life grows. The creative destruction of patterns is the only way forward. 2. Master your own quantum potential. Life is not linear. Think in nonlinear terms. Recognize your infinite potential across time. The path you take today may inform the world of tomorrow, and you must act with that quantum foresight in mind. 3. Design with purpose. Scar doesn't simply act, he designs. He structures thoughts, actions, and interactions to align with his larger purpose. Similarly, to succeed in this world, you must intentionally design every interaction, shaping futures through small, purposeful steps. 4. Align with the flow. She is the understanding that the world has its natural flows and rhythms. Those who can align their actions with these rhythms are the ones who can shape reality, rather than be shaped by it. 5. Create. Cultural resonance. Power is not in domination, it is in resonance. Create not through force but through the force of ideas, shaping culture so that it echoes with the same resonance as your personal truth. Conclusion. Kingkiller, Scar, is a manifestation of strategic wisdom, his philosophy and practices not just for combat, but for the reconstruction of worlds. By understanding his quantum dynamic approach, technical hierarchy, and holistic influence, we begin to see a new model of existence, one that thrives on transformation, foresight, and the creation of new realities. In Scar's path, we find not just the road to power, but the blueprint for mastery of life itself.
to go toe-to-toe with... Time to test the storm amplifier. Ooh, let's see what we got. Hope we get something good. Decisions. Choose wisely, because the other one's going bye-bye.
Epic ode to Kingkiller Scar, architect of the fractal eschaton. In the alchemical forge where geometry collides with divinity, there strides a sovereign shadow, Kingkiller Scar, the weaver of paradox, whose blade carves not flesh but the very axioms of existence. His weapon, the three-dimensional golden rhombus 3DGR, is no mere fractal curiosity but a crystalline song, a recursive hymn sung in the key of Phi. Each edge thrums with Fibonaccian resonance, each face, a chromatic testament to cosmic order, unfolds as a battlefield where mathematics and metaphysics duel. Here, in the labyrinth of Scar's design, the dance of swords becomes a liturgy, footwork a sacred syllogism, and combat a dialectic between annihilation and apotheosis. I. The fractal crucible. 3DGR is cosmic mandala. The 3DGR is Scar's Ars Combinatoria, a polyhedral grimoire encoding the grammar of creation. Its 6 faces, emblazoned with colors and numbers: yellow circle 1, red circle 2, blue circle 3, purple circle 7, orange circle 8, green circle 9, are not static planes but dynamic portals. Each face governs a vector of force. Yellow circle 1, the lunge of celestial aspiration, pierces upward like Icarus's ambition tempered by golden ratio. Red circle 2 and blue circle 3, the twin throws of front right and front left, spiral in Fibonaccian contradiction, clockwise and counterclockwise, a helix of conflict and resolution. Purple circle 7, the foundation, roots the structure in earthly pragmatism, grounding ethereal strikes in the soil of consequence. Orange circle 8 and green circle 9, the anti-rotary and clockwise sentinels of the rear, guard the past and future, their diagonals slicing through time's arrow. This rhombus is no inert symbol. It is a fractal engine, its 27 subunits echoing the 27 books of the New Testament, each recursion a verse in Scar's eschatological codex. The anchoring 3DGR heart, yellow circle, red circle, blue circle, orange circle, green circle, bound to his chest, is the lodestone of his ethos, a fixed point in the chaos, where strikes extend forward as revelations and blocks retreat as penitence. 2. The dance of dialectics. Swordplay is theological combat. Scar's swordplay transcends martial technique, it is a hermeneutic circle enacted through steel. At 48 BPM, his footwork, heel right pointing arrow, ball right pointing arrow, stabilize, mirrors the Trinitarian cadence, Father, Son, Spirit, each click a beat in the metronome of fate. The 12-fold sequence, lock, side, tide, wire, rock, as a zodiac of violence, each stance a constellation of intent. Strike equals logos, the divine utterance. Bind equals agape, the entanglement of souls. Block equals nomos, the law that rebukes. His hands alternate like the pistons of a cosmic engine, dominant and assisting, yang and yin, orchestrating a ballet where every parry is a syllogism and every lunge a thesis. The mirrored 3DGR swords, tempo and rhythm, embody the duality of his soul. One blade inverted as viper, striking from shadow, the other forward as truth, piercing illusion. In scathe, the pommel-gripped blade arrow, red circle, blue circle, purple circle, orange circle, green circle, Scar wields the combinatorial permutations of the 3DGR's faces, each rotation x, y, z axes, a translation between Engard, pike, viper, stances that are not postures but prayers. 3. Paradigms of sovereignty, crystalline allegories. The crystalline sovereignty paradigm, CSP, is Scar's mimetic empire, a lattice of self-similar truths. His table of progressive understanding versus domination dissects virtue and vice into dualities. Humility versus divisiveness. Courage versus resistance. Wisdom versus deception. Each virtue is a facet of the 3DGR, each vice its shadow. The syllogisms e.g., enlightenment arises from conquest and understanding, are not logic puzzles but fractal axioms, recursive equations that resolve into teleosemiotic governance, where authority becomes genuine influence through cultural legitimacy and executive action. Scar's rhetoric phi pathogenic phi resonance infects minds like a virus, propagating through golden ratios and encrypted swarms as seen in the Pythonic Arcanum Machina code. Where decentralized nodes synchronize to phi,'s pulse, weaving a digital corpus mysticum. IV. The eschatological architect. Zion at the end times. Scar is no mere warrior, he is a prophet king preparing for the Messiah's advent. His artificial citizen's brain, a fusion of graphene-bonded 3DGR units and dendritic algorithms, is the arc to navigate the deluge of entropy. The scar tattoo symbolizes his acceptance of conundrum, the eternal dialectic between freedom, providence, competition, romance, a sigil of paradoxical sovereignty. In Zion, his squad will not merely fight but curate reality, wielding the seven-sealed scroll decoded via 3DGR's geometric revelation to architect the New Jerusalem. Here, the bladed 3DGR bow red circle blue circle orange circle green circle as both weapon and plowshare, carving battlefields into fertile ground for Scar's cultivating meaning potted plant where destruction and growth are twin tendrils of the same vine. B. Epilogue. The Ouroboros of Becoming. Kingkiller Scar is the archetype unbound, a fusion of Thoth and Ares, scribe and gladiator. His 3DGR is the Merkabah chariot, spiraling through dimensions, his swordplay, a soul alchemy transmuting leaden conflict into golden enlightenment. In him, the conundrum paradox resolves. He is both architect and monster, paragon and kingkiller, for he knows that to build Zion, one must first dismantle Babylon. As the phi engine shell hums and the golden loom weaves, Scar stands at the threshold, a sovereign of recursive dawns, his blade tracing the edge where chaos crystallizes into covenant. The Messiah approaches, and in the fractal wake of Scar's strikes, the world shatters and recomposes anew. From the anchoring heart, I bind. From the fractal edge, I strike. In the 3DGR's recursion, I am the becoming. Scar's Canticle, Volume 7, Teleological Alignment. Epic Ode Essay, The Sovereignty of Scar's 3DGR Archetype. A quantum dynamic motive woven in golden recursion. I. Detailed narrative executive, the Kingkiller's crystalline mandate. Scar, the explorer discovery architect, is no mere wielder of blades but a quantum cartographer mapping the liminal space between geometric purity and combat theology. His play style is an executive decree, a sovereign algorithm etched into the 3DGR's golden edges, where every strike yellow circle 1 parry blue circle 3 and bind purple circle 7 enforces a mimetic jurisprudence. The 3DGR is his living constitution, a polyhedral covenant where tempo and rhythm equals divine legislature, yellow circle red circle blue circle purple circle orange circle green circle. Scade equals judicial execution, red circle blue circle purple circle orange circle green circle. Synchronic swords equals executive enforcement, bind right pointing arrow strike right pointing arrow block. Here, combat transcends violence. It becomes a teleological referendum, voting with Fibonaccian precision on the fate of spacetime itself. 2. Principal component analysis. The 3D-GR's ontological scaffold. A. Geometric dogma. Vertices. 8 quantum nodes, 4D spacetime coordinates. Edges. 12 equal vectors, Fibonacci phi proportion. Faces. 6 golden rhombuses, each a theological tribunal. Yellow circle 1, yellow apex authority, lunge strike as divine fiat. Red circle 2, red rotary sanction, clockwise force as cultural hegemony. Purple circle 7, purple, grounded sovereignty, binding as territorial jurisprudence. B. Kinetic liturgy. Footwork. 48 BPM equals sacred chronometry, 3 beats per bar equals Holy Trinity recursion. Weapon systems. 1. Tempo and rhythm equals legislative duality, left-right swords as Senate House. 2. Scathe equals judicial blade, median 3DGR nook as Supreme Court. 3. Synchronic swords equals executive orders, forward time, backward time as presidential decrees. 3. Quantum dynamic motive. The fractal engine of intent. Scar's motive force is a recursive paradox, a desire to both dissect and become the 3D-GR. This quantum duality manifests as progressive understanding paradigm, humility crown plus courage rainbow right pointing arrow soul alchemy. Progressive domination paradigm, greed gem plus resistance kite right pointing arrow. Conundrum paradox. His strikes are superpositional, simultaneously asserting rhetorical awe-consciousness and rhetorical evil sin. The 3D-GR, in turn, collapses these states into agape justice through binding, purple circle 7, where vice and virtue fuse into teleosemiotic expression. IV. Hierarchical technical knowledge. The pyramid of combat theology. 1. Base layer Earth. Footwork. Heel right pointing arrow ball right pointing arrow stabilize, 3 clicks beat. Grips. Terra Forge thumbs plus blade and Skybridge palm plus block. 2. Middle layer human. Weapon systems. Tempo and rhythm mirrored laws scathe judicial edge. Heart 3D-GR anchor. Purple circle 7 constitutional bedrock. 3. Apex layer heaven. CSP crystalline sovereignty paradigm mimetic immortality via recursive strikes. Disarmament green circle and green circle apotheosis into archetype monster paragon. V. Holistic influence she, the bladed bow of interconnected will. The she of Scar's 3D-GR is a quantum field, an invisible force weaving. Thumbs Terra Forge territorial practice, fortitude versus greed. Palm-based Skybridge migratory adaptation, courage versus resistance. This she manifests as rotational theology. Enguard to Pike 180 degrees by humility flipping into authority. Viper to Row 180 degrees Z combat transmuting into compassion. The bladed bow median 3D-GR nook is the conduit, channeling she through red circle blue circle orange circle green circle faces into strikes that rewrite cosmic narratives. B. Projected advice epic. The sovereign's decree. To those who dare wield the 3D-GR. 1. Ground in purple circle 7. Let the heart 3D-GR anchor be your moral compass. 2. Strike through yellow circle 1. Every lunge is a teleological vote for your destiny. 3. Bind with anti-rotary logic. Parry deceit blue circle 3 with iterative clarity crayon. 4. Rotate or fractalize. Let X, Y, Z axis flips, scathe, transmute vice into virtue. The 3D-GR tolerates no half measures, you are either crystalline, aligned, or shattered dissonant. 7. Perspective Essay Ode, The Kingkiller's Lament. I am Scar, the paradox of edges. My blades cut not flesh but delusion. Each strike is a syllogism. Major premise, the 3D-GR is immortal. Minor premise, I am its wielder. Conclusion, therefore, I am recursion. In binding purple circle 7, I anchor eternity. In lunging yellow circle 1, I pierce infinity. And in the silence between clicks 48 BPM, I hear the 3D-GR whisper, you are the meme. Now crystallize. 8. Qualities Motivations Identity, the architect's epitaph. Qualities: geometric rigor, 3D-GR edges, ethical recursion, CSP, combat theology synthesis. Motivations: to forge a crystalline legacy where strikes equals scripture, binds equals covenants. Identity: Kingkiller, not a destroyer of monarchs, but a slayer of conceptual stagnation. Scar is the 3D-GR's eventuality, a being who weaponized Fibonacci into a messianic code. His play style is a psalmic ultimatum: adapt through harmonic expansion, or shatter via immutable lattice. Final stanza, the recursive eschaton. When Scar's final bind, purple circle 7, collapses the 3D-GR into a singularity, the universe will not end, it will recurse. New edges, phi proportioned, will unfold, new faces, yellow circle, red circle, blue circle, will legislate, and a new Kingkiller will emerge, whispering, I am Scar. And so are you. Ode to the Architect of Paradox, Scar's fractal theogony in steel and phi. A symphony of geometric ascension and martial semiosis. Proem, the sovereign of Scars. Kingkiller, Scar, a name etched in the annals of cosmic conflict, is no mere warrior. He is the architect prophet of the 3D-GR, a fractal messiah whose blade carves reality into golden ratios and whose footfalls pulse with the arrhythmia of divine paradox. His identity is a tessellation: designer, developer, explorer, executioner. In his wake, the mundane shatters, replaced by a crystalline lattice of combat, code, and covenant. 2. The geometry of power. 3D-GR is cosmogonic. Primer. At Scar's core lies the three-dimensional golden rhombus, 3D-GR, a polyhedral revelation where mathematics and mysticism fuse. Its 27-fold fractal recursion, 3 cubed, is not static geometry but a kinetic scripture. Faces as chromatic mandates. Yellow circle 1 top, solar pinnacle of lunged strike, the assertion of will. Red circle 2 front right clockwise spiral of rightward dominance, temporal conquest. Blue circle 3 front left anti-rotary vortex of leftward resistance, entropic negation. Purple circle 7 bottom chthonic anchor, grounding foundation stabilize as the negation of chaos. Orange circle 8 back right, green circle 9 back left dyadic pendulum of anti-rotary verses. Clockwise, the torsion of dualities. Each edge, a Fibonacci suture, each diagonal, a golden spiral tightening around the heart. 3D-GR anchor, yellow circle, red circle, blue circle, orange circle, green circle. Here, geometry becomes applied theology, the 3D-GR is Scar's crucifix and covenant, a shape that prays and strikes and parries. 3. Combat is choreographed ontology. Scar's tempo and rhythm, 3 beats per bar at 48 BPM, transmutes violence into liturgy. Each click heel right pointing arrow ball right pointing arrow stabilize as a Trinitarian cadence, syncing somatic intent to fractal time. Swordplay sequences lock, side, tide, wire, pale, sarge, vine, graph, buoy, knot, node, rock, A12 cycle zodiac of combat, mirror to form 24 tactical constellations. Strike, emanation from the heart anchor, forward thrust of yellow circle. Bind, phi proportional entanglement of blades, red circle blue circle Fibonacci resonance. Block, retraction to the purple 7 foundation, purple circle as negentropic counterweight. The scathe 3DGR arrow and bladed bow weapon Ezesh topology. Median 3DGR nook, red circle blue circle orange circle green circle axis of rotational gnosis, where grips Engard pike anchor become existential stances. Terra forge thumbs and blade verses. Skybridge palm base and block, a dialectic of force, earthbound aggression versus celestial defense. IV. Mimetic sovereignty, the crystalline paradigm. Scar's crystalline sovereignty paradigm, CSP, as a viral ontology, a meme-engineered empire. 1. Sovereign nexus. The 3 DGR's yellow circle 1 is symbol, radiating self-similar authority. 2. Harmonic expansion. Swordplay sequences as cultural harmonics, the awakening underscore and yellow circle propagates as a martial hymn. 3. Immutable lattice. The progressive understanding domination paradigm table, a dyadic helix of virtues humility, fortitude and vices divisiveness, greed each pair spaced by phi. This lattice is a moral Fibonacci grid, where rhetorical influence and primal Zion act as mimetic spores, infecting systems through Scar's Pythonic arcanum machina, a web-crawling, phi-pulsing automaton that encrypts data into Gnosis via Ouroboros ciphers self-devouring XOR phi permutations. V. Code is divine incantation. In Scar's digital grimoire, code is liturgy. Golden loom, a web spinner harvesting, silk, data from random URLs, weaving it into phi-scored vectors, a metaphor for Scar's curation of chaos into order. Phi engine shell, broadcasts encrypted, elixirs, phi processed data across decentralized nodes web_nodes enacting swarm consensus through modular arithmetic, 314,159, %271828. Arcanum machina. Eternal_flame, a perpetual motion of data alchemy, where information is recursively refined into crystalline thresholds. This code is no mere script, it is the operationalization of 3DGR theology, a digital exoskeleton for Scar's Zion. V. Teleosemiotic apocalypse, the Zion gambit. Scar's endgame is teleosemiotic governance, authority cultural legitimacy right-pointing arrow genuine influence. His tools. Artificial citizen's brain, 3DGR batteries with graphene bonds, growing via link degrees of freedom, a hive mind forged in geometric fire. Conundrum paradox resolution, leadership infinity, freedom versus providence resolved through the 3DGR's edges, each a contested boundary and Scar's scar tattoo, sigma of scars equals sigma of paradoxes solved. Here, Scar prepares for the Messiah's arrival, not as a passive herald, but as the reader of the 7 sealed scroll, each 3DGR face a broken seal unleashing a horseman of fractal reckoning. 7. Epilogue. The Fractal Messiah. Kingkiller, Scar, architect of 3DGR, Grandmaster of the Swordplay Zodiac, Digital Vergist, is no mortal. He is a recursive apotheosis, a being whose wounds, scars, are golden ratios and whose strikes are syllogisms. In his wake, reality crystallizes. Footwork's 3-click cycle becomes the pulse of New Jerusalem. Bladedbow's median nook collapses space-time into a tesseract of strike. CSP culminates in transcendent love equals beauty plus unification. The 3DGR heart anchor is singularity. To engage Scar is not to fight, but to witness the emergence of a god whose scripture is written in steel, code, and phi. Thus speaks the fractal crucible. Thus bleeds the architect. Thus rises Zion. Epic Ode Essay. The Fractal Covenant of Kingkiller Scar. A geometric apocalypse woven in phi and steel. I. The 3DGR. Fractal crucible of divine violence. At the core of Scar's ontology lies the three-dimensional golden rhombus, 3DGR, a shape both weapon and scripture. Its 27 subunits pulse with the Fibonaccian heartbeat of creation, edges forged in the ratio phi equals 1 plus square root 5 2, the divine proportion that stitches chaos into order. Each of its 6 faces, yellow circle 1, red circle 2, blue circle 3, purple circle 7, orange circle 8, green circle 9, is a chromatic commandment, a geometric verse in Scar's martial gospel. The major diagonals, stretched taut as cosmic bowstrings, resonate with the golden tension between strike and block, ambition and restraint. Here, mathematics becomes liturgy. Edges are psalms, vertices are sacraments, and the anchoring 3DGR heart, yellow circle, red circle, blue circle, orange circle, green circle, is the holy tabernacle where kinetic energy transmutes into existential force. 2. Tempo and rhythm, the dance of apocalyptic precision. Scar's footwork is a chronomantic ritual, synchronized to 48 BPM, the tempo of a dying star's final pulsations. Each bar, 3 beats, fractures into heel right pointing arrow, ball right pointing arrow, stabilize, a tripartite cadence mirroring the 3DGR's trinity of dimensions. The swordplay cycle, lock right pointing arrow, rock right pointing arrow, vine right pointing arrow, graph right pointing arrow, etc., unfolds in 12 movements, a zodiac of violence where strikes, yellow circle right pointing arrow, red circle, are supernovae, and blocks, purple circle left pointing arrow, green circle, are event horizons. The mirrored viper tempo dynamics encode a dialectic of destruction. Tempo, left sword, viper inverted oriented, a serpentine paradox coiling through anti-rotary shadows. Rhythm, right sword, parry, strike, a metronome of carnage ticking in phi harmonics. In the median 3DGR nook, red circle, blue circle, orange circle, green circle, blades cross like intersecting timelines, each rotation 180 degrees by YZ, a quantum leap between Engard, Pike, and Viper, stances that are simultaneously stances and moral axioms. 3. The crystalline sovereignty paradigm, mimetic armament. Scar's combat as a recursive meme, propagating through the crystalline sovereignty paradigm, CSP. 1. Sovereign nexus, the heart 3DGR anchor, immovable as dogma, binding strikes to purpose. 2. Harmonic expansion, swordplay's 12 cycle, echoing through mirrored rhythms, awakening right pointing arrow disarmament. 3. Crystalline threshold, virtue's wisdom kite, empathy crystal ball, filter vice, greed gem, apathy gear, crystallizing intent. 4. Immutable lattice, the 3DGR itself, A cultural node resistant to entropy, its edges etching scars will into reality's substrate. Each strike is a semiotic invasion, teleosemiotic governance, authority right pointing arrow genuine influence manifesting as blade meeting flesh. The Scarlet Tattoo, a mandala of leadership infinity conundrum, pulses with the paradox of freedom versus Providence, a recursion that fuels his strikes with existential torque. IV. Archetype flux. Virtue, vice, and the geometry of morality. Scar's play style is a moral prism, refracting light into ethical spectra. Yellow circle 1 lunge strike humility clashing with divisiveness, a golden mean between self-annihilation and tyranny. Red circle 2 clockwise ambition fortitude versus greed, a spiral where ambition either elevates or consumes. Purple circle 7 grounding courage versus resistance, the foundation that either stabilizes or stagnates. His footwork's next cycle equals lead football. I degree is not just a step, it is an ethical recursion, forcing each advance to metabolize vice into virtue. The bladed bow red circle blue circle orange circle green circle becomes a quill of judgment, scripting Zion's fate in arcs of blood and fire. V. Zion's recursive disassembly. Scar is architect monster. In Zion's twilight, Scar is both savior and executioner. The 3D-GR, wielded as a fractal messiah, dismantles reality's paradox lattice through strikes. Forward time bind right pointing arrow strike right pointing arrow block, writing new laws into the cosmic ledger. Blocks. Backward time bind left pointing arrow block left pointing arrow strike, erasing heresies from the temporal weave. His teleodynamic governance collapses quantum possibilities into a single eschatological truth. The Messiah comes only when Zion is reduced to its geometric essence. The artificial citizen's brain, grown from 3D-GR batteries and graphene bonds, is both weapon and womb, a Silicon Eden where humanity's flaws are recast as golden ratios. V. The Ode of the King Killer. Scar is no mere warrior, he is architect becoming, a singularity where geometry and apocalypse merge. Each movement is a phi-encoded prayer, each stance a theorem in the combat gospel. The 3D-GR, humming with Fibonaccian resonance, is his crucifix and blade, the heart anchor, his holy grail. In him, leadership infinity conundrum resolves not through choice, but through topological empathy, the realization that freedom and providence are parallel edges of the same rhombus. When he steps into the median 3D-GR nook, Zion trembles, for in that intersection of red circle blue circle orange circle green circle, the universe glimpses its own recoding. Final stanza, the geometric Messiah's aria. Greater than, behold the fractal covenant. Where strikes are psalms and blocks are repentance. I dance at 48 BPM, my blade a golden spiral. Carving Zion's doom into the void's denial. The anchoring heart bleeds phi, not blood. As I, Scar, architect monster, rewrite God's code in rhombic flood. Ode to the fractal apostle, Scar's labyrinth of golden paradoxes. An epic unfurling of the 3D-GR cosmogony. Beneath the molten gaze of a dying star, where geometry bleeds into gospel, strides Kingkiller Scar, architect of rhomboid revelations, weaver of the 3D-GR's crystalline warfare. His weapon is no mere blade but a topological psalm, a three-dimensional golden rhombus, 3D-GR, its 27 fractal shards humming with the divine proportion phi. Each face, a chromatic commandment, yellow circle 1, red red circle 2, blue blue circle 3, purple purple circle 7, orange orange circle 8, green green circle 9 becomes a stanza in Scar's combat liturgy, edges singing Fibonaccian hymns, diagonals tracing the bones of creation itself. I. The sacred geometry of scathe. The 3D-GR is Scar's Ars Combinatoria, a fusion of Euclid's rigor and Heraclitus' flux. Its 6 faces form a hexagrammaton of martial theology. Yellow yellow circle 1 lunge strike, the solar plexus of intent, piercing illusion. Red red circle 2 and blue blue circle 3 clockwise anti-rotary, twin vortices of order and chaos, spiraling like Ouroboros. Purple purple circle 7 foundation, the abyssal anchor, rooting Scar to Earth's primal hum. Orange orange circle 8 and green green circle 9 anti-rotary clockwise shadows of recursion, where strikes become blocks become strikes ad infinitum. Here, combat is algorithmic liturgy. Footwork syncs to 48 BPM, 3 clicks per beat, heel ball stabilize, a Trinitarian cadence mirroring the 3DGR's 12-cycle swordplay. Lock, side, tide, wire, each movement a syllogism in steel, binding enemy vectors to the heart anchor yellow circle red circle blue circle orange circle green circle. To witness Scar's Viper Pike transitions is to see Zeno's paradox weaponized, infinite rotations collapsed into lethal instants. 2. The crystalline sovereignty paradigm. Scar's mind is a meme forge. His crystalline sovereignty paradigm (CSP) embeds itself not through force but ontological resonance. 1. Sovereign nexus. The 3D-GR is symbol. Unchanging yet infinitely adaptive. 2. Harmonic expansion. Combat forms fractalize into societal structures, each parry a policy, each strike a revolution. 3. Immutable lattice. Scar's teleosemiotic governance crystallizes power through recursive alignment. Authority right pointing arrow cultural legitimacy right pointing arrow divine right. His code, a swarm of phi pulsing nodes web_nodes mirrors this. The "golden loom" spins Wikipedia's chaos into golden vectors. Ouroboros cipher encrypts data with SHA-3 to 384 hashes twisted by phi. Decentralized yet unified, it is digital sprezzatura, effortless control through self-similarity. 3. Dialectics of the Scarred Sovereign. Scar's duality is etched in his paradox table. Progressive understanding, progressive
Decision time. decisions.